It's Wednesday afternoon, and you know what that means. Ringside Heat is on the air on News Talk Saga 960 AM, your favorite podcatcher, as well as on YouTube. Ladies and gentlemen, my name is Lex Tan, host and producer of the show. You can follow Ringside Heat on all of our social media platforms, which are YouTube, Instagram, X, Facebook, TikTok, Threads, and Patreon at Ringside_Heat. And you can follow me as well at LexTan Media. And joined here on the show, it's going to be a one-on-one Ringside Heat episode with our wrestling memorabilia expert and collector at Coca Collects, Chico Nugent. Chico, welcome to the show.
Hey, I feel welcome. Man, what a week. I can't wait to get started with all the topics, but dang.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's been a range of stuff. I mean, I guess just the regular week of on-screen product is carried on, and nothing particularly terrible other than, of course, what we're going to talk about later from Monday Night Raw. But yeah, it's just there's so many things that are going pretty well right now, and some exciting stuff coming to Toronto, and I'm kind of excited to tackle that too later. I guess we'll tee up something that's happening this week.
Well, yeah. Well, I'm going to start that off actually.
Okay.
Just by saying this over here, we'll talk about this a little bit more in detail later on in the show. But AEW announced today through the Toronto Sun and also through media outlets, which we are one of their media outlets that they've reached out to. So hey, cool. Thank you so much, AEW, for that
Awesome.
one. That they will be at Scotiabank Arena in Toronto hosting AEW All Out on September the 20th. Tickets go on sale Monday, June the 2nd, and you can get exclusive pre-sale opportunities and register for early access at www.allelitewrestling.com/AEW-insider. And you can get the latest information from allelitewrestling.com. And one thing I will say about this, just before we get into the more heavier topics, is that AEW coming to September at the Scotiabank Arena will remind the Toronto fans what it's like to actually put up a fight in that building. Ooh.
And if there are those of you like me who don't follow hockey and don't fully understand what Lex Tan is alluding to, rest in peace, Leafs Nation again.
Yep. Well, here's the thing. You watched the game with me on Sunday night over at All Stars in Scarborough, and you saw you saw that drubbing that they got on
the emotion too among the Leafs Nation watching.
Yep. Exactly.
Sheesh.
Exactly. But hey, you know what? At least AEW will be able to put smiles on Scotiabank Arena fans' faces anyway. But
hey, hold on. Before you continue, is this the first time that AEW is holding All Out in a city that is not Chicago?
I believe it is. It is going to be the first All Out not in Chicago, and is going to be the first AEW pay-per-view, as far as I remember, the first AEW pay-per-view since Forbidden Door back in 2022
or 23, I think.
23. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. Well, it's about time. I mean, they really should be coming back here annually, but hey, I'll take 2 years. That's fine.
I mean,
I'm looking to go if possible. That sounds exciting, actually.
Yeah, well, I mean, there'll be opportunities for that, and who knows? Maybe we'll be at the press conference as well, like we were back a couple of years ago for Forbidden Door, which would be awesome. Because All Out is another one of their signature events with AEW.
That's right.
So we'll get into that a little bit later as a little bit more into detail with that later. But I wanted to, take a shot at the Leafs over here because it's it just put a little bit of a brighter tone before we get into the heavier topic that we need to address. Rest in peace to one of the most influential wrestlers of the 90s and the 2000s, Sabu, who passed away this past this past May the 11th. That was on Sunday on Mother's Day, and at the age of 61, he passed away. He was born circa 1963, 1964. No one really has apparently his actual birth date on record. So, but
wow.
Yeah, I guess that's how far the kayfabe ran. But he was born in Staten Island, New York. His father was of Irish and German descent, and his mother was Lebanese descent. And he is the nephew of Ed Farhat, otherwise known as the original Sheik, and he got the name Sabu from an Indian American actor that the original Sheik was a fan of.
Oh,
So yeah,
okay.
so it's so very interesting how that is his origins that way. Interesting thought about him is that just before he became or started becoming a wrestler at the age of 19, he was at a house party and he got shot in the face. He recovered fully, obviously, but after he was released from the hospital and recovered, that's when he began his training to become a professional wrestler. And he's known, and I guess maybe that played into his psyche because he is best known for his trademark style of hardcore wrestling, which he pioneered during his time with Eastern Championship / Extreme Championship Wrestling in the 90s. Over his career, as far as I've counted, he's won over 40 championships in, I believe, 29 promotions that he held a title 43 different times in 29 different promotions. He is a in the Hardcore Hall of Fame back in 2009, inducted into the Indie Wrestling Hall of Fame in 2024, the ECW, the second ECW Triple Crown champion by capturing the ECW, or yes, the Eastern Championship Wrestling World Heavyweight Championship twice, and he was also an NWA World Heavyweight Champion as part of when he was part of the NWA Florida. So very decorated wrestler himself, and a couple of interesting things here as well. He started in his uncle's promotion back in 1985, Big Time Wrestling, and then after he traveled to Japan, competed for 10 years in Japan, going between Frontier Martial Arts Wrestling and New Japan Pro Wrestling, and returned to the USA in 1993, worked at ECW, then moved on to worked in WCW briefly, and then went to ECW. And he's gone through WWE, he's gone through TNA. He had 3 stints in TNA. Interesting thought over here was that he did, in his WWE tenure, he debuted at the first ECW One Night Stand. He defeated Rhino, and after about a year, he signed a 1-year contract in April 2006 and participated in the second One Night Stand. He took on Rey Mysterio in an Extreme Rules match for the World Heavyweight Championship. And the match was apparently so brutal. It's multiple chair shots, multiple tables being shattered. It went to a no contest when both men were so badly beaten up that they were deemed no longer able to compete by WWE doctors. That's kayfabe now. That's actually a kayfabe thing, which is believable because my goodness gracious, Sabu, right?
Yeah, man. There's so many things to say about Sabu. I didn't necessarily get really deep into the tapes of ECW. I had a couple, I bought a couple of VHS tapes of theirs. Not, I didn't go as hardcore as to do the tape trading. That was, a hallmark of that kind of extreme sort of indie fandom.
Mhm.
I didn't get that deep into it, but I did see I forgot what it was called. It's somewhere in this house. There's an ECW compilation tape where there's matches like RVD versus Jerry Lynn, which was always a banger.
Oh yeah.
Modern terminology applied to matches from 30 years ago. Yeah, but I do. Well, Sabu's passing, if for nothing else, is making me want to look back on some of the stuff that put him and hardcore wrestling, and in many cases like tables themselves, on the map.
Mm-hmm.
I think I heard Bully Ray on Busted Open credit Sabu with being either the first or like an innovator in putting people through tables, period.
Oh yeah.
I
Wow.
mean, that would make sense to me. That kind of tracks with the time that he came into prominence and tables beginning to be a staple, which to me was brought into a larger popularity by ECW.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
it just makes sense to me that that person that would dare to do that is Sabu. I mean, the one thing that sticks out in my mind immediately when I hear Sabu is triple jump moonsault.
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
that move blew my mind at the time. It's still, to me, unique.
Mhm.
and I don't think anybody has pulled off half the stuff he's pulled off as well as he did. I mean, imagine that you're jumping off a rope, a turnbuckle, and then another rope, I think, and then and then a leg drop onto your opponent, but the leg drop is onto a chair onto your opponent.
Wow.
So like just to see him do it is a thing of beauty. It's a very strange kind of beauty,
Mhm, mhm.
but it's a thing of
As
beauty
wrestling is.
nonetheless. Yeah, no, but I mean, he made it even stranger. Here's a guy walking around with a Sheik's outfit, essentially the equivalent of that in wrestling gear.
Mhm,
Sometimes with a headdress on during the match or at the start of the match, and then it comes off. But then, yeah, he's still wearing like that sort of uh, Middle Eastern kind of inspired gear, and then he's flying around with these shiny pants on, holding a chair and like just landing in some of the most awkward ways against his opponents. But hey, man, it had a market. ECW really grew popular. A lot of it was on the strength of what Sabu was bringing to the table. So,
mhm,
I mean, what I do want to say is, not to get way too long winded about it, is to um, honor him for the sacrifices he made of his body, of his time, to really do this pro wrestling thing that so
mhm.
many of us love. So yeah, Sabu, man, rest in peace. Way too early at the age of 60 or 61 or whenever he was born. Um, that's kind of interesting that he's got that enigma about him still, which is
Yeah. Mhm.
I guess it endures, like his character kind of endures. And from all accounts of wrestlers who've given testimony about their friend, a very kind man.
So, yeah, and I was able to experience that kindness as well.
Oh,
Very quiet. He wasn't exactly somebody that talked a lot on the microphone, and he only started actually having to go on the microphone, cut promos when he was in his WWE career. But back a couple of months ago for Greektown Wrestling, I went there to say hi to our good friend Jimmy Corderas, and also
yes.
to our friends over in the independent scene, Daniel Dart, as well as Frankie Falbo as well, because they are doing, they help out with production over there. And of course, as
Mhm.
well, a friend of ours is that we both know, Nug Nargong, who is the play-by-play guy for Greektown Wrestling. And I was, and I remember being there because Sabu was in the main event competing. I believe he actually competed for the championship, the Greektown championship that
Oh,
night.
nice.
Obviously, he didn't win, but yeah, all the great stuff, all the tables came out, the chairs came out, and there was even a ref bump. So guess who? Jimmy Corderas, who has refereeing experience, came down to the ring and did and it was really really cool to see Jimmy Corderas referee a Sabu match first of all. And and then getting a chance to after helping the production team take the equipment back to the cars and everything. I was just hanging out just over the front doors of the space that that they used with Jimmy, his wife Audra, and with Sabu, and and it was just the four of us just standing around chatting it up a little bit about the wrestling business and everything. And Sabu, very soft spoken, very kind, and but at the same time, you also knew he was also he was also ailing at the time as well. So you could hear his voice was a little bit weaker. He was
Now,
moving a
hold
little.
on. Sorry to interrupt, but was this before or after that significant injury that he had in recent years, which was, I think, Border City Wrestling put together sort of a tribute to Sabu, like a whole night tribute to Sabu back then,
Well,
because
this was only just a few months ago.
Oh, okay. So okay. Okay, I know he had gone down with a pretty bad injury a few years ago,
Yeah, but
and then the tribute shows happened.
yeah, he still so he obviously didn't move like he used to, but
Hmm.
he still was able to move around pretty decently in a ring as well, considering all the injuries he's had. And but at the same time, at the end of the night, he's he's recovering. He's a little bit more quiet and everything, moving a little bit more slowly. So I was able to actually take his bags and
Oh
help him
wow.
put it into the Uber and everything. So yeah, and
Wow, that's firsthand knowledge right there. That's pretty cool, man.
yeah, I guess I can go to my grave and say that, hey, you know what? I helped Sabu with his bags.
Now, in WWE, of course, after that one night stand, where Rob Van Dam won the WWE title, the one that spins that he told Paul Heyman about,
Yep.
and then kind of they brought back the ECW title, and uh, I was a little sad that it didn't last long, but when I
Mm.
found out why it didn't last so long, it
Mm.
kind of made me laugh a little.
Yeah.
And that was because RVD and Sabu.
Yep.
And at the time, the laws around marijuana possession were different,
Yeah,
a
definitely.
little more stringent than the somewhat a little bit more relaxed version of the law these days on that.
Hmm.
Um, but it just kind of made me laugh because of all the things to end the main event push of one Rob Van Dam, it's because he and Sabu were pulled over and got booked for
For
you
possession.
know for possession.
Yeah.
It's
Well, I
unfortunate
could.
that
Well, I
that's
could
what
tell.
happened.
Well, I could tell you that I can tell you for sure that Sabu would not have been arrested here for his actions.
No, but I mean, to get back to the tributes, I guess one final thing I'll say about Sabu is that when I think of those three letters that people still chant in droves around the world, ECW, one of the icons of that for me would be Sabu.
Hmm.
Absolutely, yeah, alongside your human suplex machine Taz, Mister Monday Night, Mister PPV, Rob Van Dam, uh, Tommy Dreamer, Heart and Soul of ECW, the Dudley Boys. Um, right along with all of them, like when I hear ECW, I think of Sabu. It's
Hmm.
one
Hmm.
of the first thoughts in my head when I
Hmm.
think of that whole time.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, and it was actually really cool. I know I know, like, not to toot our own horns or anything like that, but last year at the ECW arena when we went before WrestleMania Saturday, it was really, really cool just to, be in that place where, all those guys you talked about made names for themselves in this, in the industry and all around the world before they were able to get to, your TNAs and your WWEs and your EEWs as well. But so it was really cool to be in that environment of history and and that iconic time in the industry. I guess unfortunately the passing of Sabu does come with a little bit of controversy because his final match was on April the 18th this year at Game Changer Wrestling, the other GCW, for Joey Janela's Spring Break 9. And I got a chance to watch this match on YouTube alongside the full Donovan, who's a wrestler on the Ontario independent scene, and it was a brutal match, man. So so it's one of those hardcore matches where where the ring they replaced the ring ropes with barbed wire.
I was just gonna allude to that because he had a match like that in ECW with Terry Funk.
Yes, exactly.
The Born to Be Wired was the
Yes.
event.
Yeah, yeah. And on top of that, there was like a pit of barbed wire on one side. There's like another couple of boards on the other like around ringside with barbed wire attached to it. So of course they were going to use those in spots and everything. So yes, of course. So his leg got cut up and or got cut up first of all in on the barbed wire ropes around the ring, and
Mhm.
then there was another spot where he fell into the barbed wire pit face first, and then there's another spot which left him bleeding pretty badly from the head, and you can see like there's a lot of blood that was that was left on the at ringside outside the ring, but either way, he did seem pretty happy with the match because, like, as soon it was funny because as Donovan actually described to me, as soon as Sandman's song hit and he came to the ring and did his thing, even like he looked like he was out until Sandman's music hit, and then immediately it seemed like he snapped back to 90s ECW.
Oh, that's crazy, man. That
Um,
that is crazy.
yeah.
There's you describing that makes me not want to watch it because I get squeamish.
Yeah, yeah. It was not. It's definitely not for the faint of heart. So that's keep that in mind. Anybody who's listening right now, and so as a result, GCW has come under fire for allowing Sabu to even wrestle in that match,
Yeah.
because of his poor health, his age, and such a brutal one as well. Obviously, Game Changer Wrestling has denied any involvement and any culpability in the unfortunate passing of Sabu, but who knows what'll happen. I don't know what's will obviously when we find out any more news about anything that's going to happen around the Sabu situation, we will be commenting on it here on the show. In the meantime, though, it's just unfortunate that we don't have Sabu anymore. Another one of the ECW originals that are that have left us, and as Mr. Corderis would say, may his memory be eternal.
Only the good die young, man.
Mm-hmm. When we come back, we will talk about, I guess, more things that are happening in Toronto. Maple Leaf Pro Wrestling Northern Rising, which we attended at Maple Leaf Gardens, which which had Maple Leaf teams that actually put up fights anyway.
Whew, there it is again.
Yes, and of course, upcoming this coming Friday, TNA Under Siege, which we will also be there for, so we'll be able to review it live in the arena as well. Back after these promotional considerations.
With only everyone, he's looking for one single face.
And welcome back to Ringside Heat on News Talk Saga 960 AM, Lextan at Lextan Media, Ringside Heat at Ringside_Heat on all social media platforms that we have: YouTube, Instagram, X, Facebook, TikTok, and as well Threads and Patreon. And by the way, if you are looking to advertise on our show, hey, you know what? Your ad read could be right here, right now. Make sure you contact me online or contact the Ringside Heat socials if you would like to have your business or podcast or anything advertised on our show. And alongside me is Chico at Coco Collects. He is our wrestling memorabilia expert as well as our TNA expert.
That old chestnut.
Yep. But not Joey Chestnut and everything, because he's the he's the hot dog guy. Anyway, so first off, Toronto wrestling. The Toronto wrestling scene is just picking up, as we mentioned earlier in the show. AEW All Out in Toronto on September the 20th, and tickets will go on sale on June the 2nd. There are also pre-sale opportunities that you can register for early access at www.allelitewrestling.com/AEW-insider. And so it's going to be, another fun time when it comes to wrestling this coming September. But we also had some fun at the old Maple Leaf Gardens, aka the currently named Mattamy Athletic Center, for MLP Major League. What am I talking about? Maple Leaf Pro Wrestling, Northern Rising.
You just about made Wild Thing play in my head as Ricky Vaughn goes up to throw the Terminator pitch.
Yep, and now you're reminding me of good old Bob Uecker and my favorite line from him. And I'll apply to them, and I'll apply it to Game 5 and Game 7 of the Leafs versus Panthers series. Hello, Leaf fans. Welcome back to NHL hockey, sort of.
I've been known to make a dynamite drop in or two.
Yes.
Mattamy Athletic Center, ye old Maple Leaf Gardens.
Mm-hmm.
We really stepped into history, man.
Yes, exactly. And I believe that's the first. That was the first Maple Leaf pro wrestling show, like its current duration, obviously over there.
Hmm.
But
Hmm.
this is because this is the spiritual successor, the successor to, and it inherited the history of the old Maple Leaf Wrestling, Queensbury Athletic Club. For those of you who go all the way back, and they even said that during the actual broadcast that it was Queensbury Athletic Club before it was called Maple Leaf Wrestling. That's the first one that they've done since what I think the 80s or something like that now, because of the Tunnies, when they sold their business to the WWF back in the 80s, they still retained the rights to professional wrestling in Maple Leaf Gardens. That's why Vince McMahon couldn't promote in Maple Leaf Gardens. So a lot of the times the WWF Superstars show had to be filmed in Brantford, as Jimmy Corderas talked about. And that's because the Tunnies wouldn't let Vince promote in Maple Leaf Gardens.
Oh my gosh, that's right. Just when they put up a picture of Jack Tunney, brought back childhood memories, man.
Oh, yeah.
You know, like I remember like when I saw his face would pop up on Superstars or something. You know, some serious Federation crap was going down. Some decisions were being made.
Yes, the proto GM.
That's right. That's right. The president of the
Yes.
World Wrestling Federation, as they used to call him.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And so the matches were, we had let's say we had Josh Alexander defeating QT Marshall on the main card, Zack Sabre Jr. defeating Jonathan Gresham. I believe we didn't unfortunately see those matches. We missed those matches because parking is still is still parking in Toronto, unfortunately.
Oh, yeah. Fantastic.
But Serena Deeb defeating Miyu Yamashita, that was a fun match. Those two,
Very fun.
those two can throw down, and if anybody gets a chance to watch that match, Serena Deeb, what do they call her, the professor or something
The
like that?
professor. Yep.
Yeah. And Yamashita as well too, one of the premier talents alongside your Julias and your Kairi Sanes and your Io Skies.
I'd say she's one of the next in line among those Japanese talents, because what I mean by next in line is, like they're out there in the indies, getting their reps and everything. But in terms of major indie names, of course WWE took several of them. Julia, Stephanie Baker. AEW's got what's her face, Mina Shirakawa.
Yep.
So the big promotions have snapped up a whole lot of those names. Even NXT's Zarya, who used to be Delta on the Indies, she was in Japan as well, Australian working in Japan. But Miyu is one of the next ones that I keep hearing about. So the fact that we got to see her live against one of the legendary, women's performers, that we couldn't have walked into a better match.
Oh, for sure. And the one thing is as well, and I know this is free advertising for the Mattamy and all that, but I have to say, watching wrestling at the Mattamy Athletic Center as it's constituted right now, because because for those of you who haven't been to the Mattamy, it's basically where Maple Leaf Gardens is right now, because Maple Leaf Gardens is still up, but as a Loblaws grocery store, but where it is, where the Mattamy Athletic Center is, it's in what is the dome of Maple Leaf Gardens. So if you look at those aerial shots of the white roof of the on top of the brown concrete facade of Maple Leaf Gardens, that's where the athletic center is. And because of its small size, and you could still fit around 2,000 people in half the arena up there. 2,300, I believe, was the maximum amount in that area. Half the arena being covered off and everything, and it is still an amazing view from no matter where you're sitting, no matter where you're standing, and it's an amazing place to watch wrestling.
Hey, man, and it doesn't hurt to have some popcorn while you're watching it either. It was a good night, I'd say. I didn't know about half of those people, but that's great. I'm very glad that Scott D'Amore is giving exposure to a whole bunch of people who could use it.
Yep.
Because this was, I'd say it was a major pro wrestling show. It wasn't the number 1 or 2 promotion in the world, or even 3 or 4, but then it was prestigious enough. I mean, you got Mauro Ranallo and Don Callis on the call.
Yep,
I
and
mean,
you have
yeah,
bunch of you have a bunch of ex WWE superstars like Bishop
Raj
Dyer.
Desi.
Right, exactly. Raj Desi, the formerly known as Jinder Mahal, uh,
Yeah.
and participating in the 20-man gauntlet for the gold. Matt Cardona actually
Yeah.
was there as well, and he was the one that jobbed to Josh Alexander in that gauntlet for the gold for Josh Alexander to become the inaugural MLP Canadian champion, which is phenomenal because, and he even said it after the cameras went off the air, how much him being the Canadian champion in MLPW in Maple Leaf Gardens
Yeah.
meant to him.
Yeah, man. And just to insert this point that I forgot about earlier, attending Northern Rising by MLP at the Gardens meant that I returned to the place where I first watched live pro wrestling. I'd been a fan up to that point. I was about 10 and a half years old. My dad decided to take us to Maple Leaf Gardens to a Summer Sizzler tour stop for the World Wrestling Federation. And it was my first time witnessing this thing that I'd started to be a fan of in person. So I think that was a very important day for me because it kind of solidified it with a live show of these, real life superhero type characters. And I got to see them finally in person, and it was so cool. So to be able to step back into Maple Leaf Gardens and watch live pro wrestling again, it felt like a bit of a full circle moment. Like I didn't get to do a whole lot at Maple Leaf Gardens once I moved here to Canada before they kind of wound down the time of it as the premier sort of venue that it was before. I'm glad it's still home to a lot of things now, but in its original configuration before, like they wound down that time, not too long after I got to this country. So it was nice to be able to come back in there, get some nice live pro wrestling, and it was a good card too. So I mean, it was just a good night, man. Like it was so cool to be part of.
Yeah, and we also got the chance to, see a couple of the guys and girls as they were making their way out of the arena, out of the venue. And I also want to just put a congratulations out there to another one of my friends from the independent wrestling scene, Bia Moss, who actually wrestled in the undercard before the actual show went on the air and everything.
Nice.
And so, and I got a chance to see her and give her a big hug and congratulations. And hopefully I get a chance to book some time with her and interview her so we can ask her about her experience of actually wrestling at Maple Leaf Gardens, so as a Toronto girl herself.
Hey, and a throwback legend in my eyes who has had challenges in the recent past, but looked to be in good spirits that night. Jason Sensation.
Yes, that's right. We need to get
ringside.
Yeah, that's right. I still have to. I still have to go and reach out to him because I would love to have him on the show and talk wrestling with that dude.
Well, I love a good impression, man. People who know me know I like a good impression, and
Nice to do.
He caught my eye back in the Attitude Era because of his impression, mainly of Owen Hart.
Yes,
that's what stood out to me the most. He did a few during that run with the DX.
It's uncanny how much he can sound like Owen Hart.
Absolutely. Like I'll believe him if he says he's not a nugget. You know what I mean?
But yeah, actually getting a chance to chat with him, after the show was off the air, and just by just by the stands and everything, he looks good. He's actually, he looks like he's a lot more at peace right now, and
yes.
Very, very gracious. He knows what I mean. The first thing that came out of my mouth is like, I asked him, "So how are you doing, man?" And he actually answered that, like, "Hey, you know what? He does does admit that, yes, I was in trouble for quite a bit and everything, but I'm better now, and continually getting better every day. So I would love to talk about, not just get a couple of impressions, but also talk about the journey that he's had, not just
Oh
from the World
yeah.
Wrestling Federation, but also from the infamous things that happened. I remember a mad scramble back in 2018 when I was actually attending Raw, and then just like a buzz around the arena, but not the good kind of buzz,
Yeah,
unfortunately.
yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, yeah, he's overcome a lot, it seems, and right now he's in a good place from from us having those conversations with him. So that was nice, and also it was nice to meet a Speedball Mike Bailey. Sorry,
Yes.
Speedball Mike Bailey.
Yes.
That was really really cool. It was nice of him to kind of go around and take pictures with people, and you know, it was. And my gosh, his match was great too. That
Yes.
triple threat
Oh,
that he
yeah.
was in.
The three-way match. I mean, like, those things are always chaotic, but those Mike Bailey, Gabe Kidd, and Michael Oku, 22 minutes of wrestling perfection.
Well, and I mean, spoiler alert for people who want to watch it that haven't yet. When he gave that finishing move, like kick to Michael Oku,
Mm-hmm.
oh man, it was taken so well, and it was just one of those, OMG moments. If Joey Styles was still doing commentary,
Mm-hmm.
uh, it was just so good, like so well timed. That was one of the highlights for me, was that kick and
Mm-hmm.
Speedball getting the 3 count.
Definitely. So, and of course, you can also, I believe it is available on pay-per-view right now via Triller TV, so you can watch it back if you want to, and experience all that great wrestling, and even come to a show. Apparently, the next one's going to be over in Montreal, so that might be a fun road trip as well. But we're going to have to take our last break over here. When we come back, we'll talk about TNA Under Siege, which will be happening on Friday or in Brampton. Or at least Peel region. But we'll get all the information for you, and we'll give that to you after the break on Ringside Heat. Back after these promotional considerations.
Under all the lights, with only everyone, he's looking for one single face.
And welcome back to Ringside Heat on Newstalk Saga 960 AM, your favorite podcatcher, and on YouTube. Lextan at Lextan Media, Ringside Heat at Ringside_Heat, and Chico at Coco Collects. And we are going to be talking about this segment, TNA Under Siege. But before we get into that, well wishes and speedy recovery to Zoe Stark. She was injured in a match on Raw a couple of days ago. It was a pretty bad injury. It probably involved the knee, and it was you really feel for somebody.
Oh my gosh.
For
Yeah.
anybody who injures themselves, but then my God, that sounded bad. So
Yeah, no, not just that. I mean, it's a sound reminder or it's a sobering reminder rather, that these men and women, for our entertainment, sacrifice their bodies. That is the decision they've made, the career that they're into, and it's a reminder that literally every single time they go out there and perform for us, it's a risk. And only takes one misstep for something like that to happen. And so, I mean, I'd say nobody's really to blame. I mean, things just happen once in a while,
Yeah.
right? I mean, it just happens like that. There are going to be people that say, oh, ring rust from Kairi Sane, which valid point also. But of course, it always takes two to tango, and timing was just off that one moment, unfortunately. And what did Bully say about this one? It was just unfortunate because it's a typical move that Zoe does in just about every single one of her matches. Is she jumps off either the rope or the turnbuckle. I can't remember which part of the ring. I think the rope, and she does like a missile drop kick.
Yeah,
and I think that's what she was setting up for. But there was no Kairi Sane to receive it.
Yes.
So as a reflex, instead of just falling flat and sort of letting the mat take the brunt of it and, doing that as if it's like a missed drop kick, I think her body went into like trying to save itself mode, and she stuck down a leg.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, that meant that her momentum meant that she really came down on that knee, and unfortunately it was a really bad angle for it to have bent. So, and you know what, man, like pro wrestlers, they do so much for us. They risk so many things for us. But it must have been really bad, because I think with the amount of training they do, the amount of reps they do, the amount of mistakes maybe that they learn from in their comeuppance through the ranks, I'm sure that many of these people have had painful injuries and have learned to sort of not make noise about it, because they can kind of grin and bear it and then fix it and then come back a few months later, whatever, right? What I'm getting at is it must have been that bad where you could audibly hear her scream
Yeah,
for like
exactly.
half a minute.
Yeah, exactly. And
Yeah, it
and
sounded so bad. My heart went out to her immediately.
yeah, and they actually had to cut away from the ring and like show the crowd like they used to do for like back in the back in the days in TSN when they used to do that stuff.
Oh my god.
But yeah, well wishes to Zoe Stark. We hope she gets well soon and is back at it in the ring, healthy and able to compete again. Yeah.
I think that's a knee that might have also been previously injured and previously surgically repaired. It might be one of those knees, unfortunately. So yeah, I'm just want to echo what you're saying. Well wishes. It might take some time for her though.
Yeah.
But this is a big one, I think.
Yeah. And so the lesson is for us fans, we just can't take anything for granted what they do in the ring. I mean, like,
That's right.
and yes, I know I also rag on the Maple Leafs for not showing up or whatever like that, but
Oh my
but they also take their own beatings as well too. Like hockey is just as rough on the body as wrestling can be. So
Oh yeah.
I guess it's arguable.
I'm not gonna go as far as to say
It's
I was just
arguable
gonna
to say
say
who gets it worse, wrestlers
yeah,
and hockey
I'm
players.
not gonna go as far as to say
But
one is
yeah.
more than the other. We'll get so much heat for that.
Oh yeah, but either way, great way to support your local pro wrestling talents who are, just who are established names and up and coming talent as well in the industry. TNA Under Siege this coming Friday, May the 23rd at the CAA Center in Brampton, Ontario, Canada. The 5th event under the Under Siege chronology, and it's going to start at 8 p.m. Tickets, general admission tickets are on sale, and meet and greets are on sale. So Chico paid for as well too, and I'm going to as well get that meet and greet post show on the Friday night with good old, say his name and here appears, Joe Hendry, the TNA world champion.
Oh man, I can't wait to make like Steven Seagal and go to TNA Under Siege. It's I just hope there's no like breaking any necks over there, like Steven Seagal would typically do. Who came up with this series of TNA pay-per-view names that are all like Steven Seagal movies?
I'm gonna say Scott D'Amore, but then because
I'm gonna say Tommy Dreamer, but go on.
Fine, okay. Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. Tommy Dreamer makes a lot more sense than Scott D'Amore, but yeah.
It could be though.
Yeah.
But it's just so funny to me that there's several. I forgot what the other ones are. There's at least one more. I mean, it's Hard to Kill, Steven Seagal movie.
Yep.
Okay, there you go. So just Hard to Kill and Under Siege alone.
Yep.
Just goes to show you we got some action movie fans in Total Nonstop Action.
And speaking of total nonstop action, I mean, here's the 8-match card that's been announced so far for Under Siege. Joe Hendry and Elijah, the 2 guitar players in the company, going up against Trick Williams and Frankie Kazarian. Masha Slamovich puts up the TNA Knockouts World Championship against Victoria Crawford. Eddie Edwards,
formerly known as.
Sorry,
formerly known as.
You tell me.
Alicia Fox.
There you go. Eddie Edwards versus Cody Deaner. And if Deaner wins, he will receive a new TNA contract. The
Oh,
Nemeth, yep. The Nemeth brothers, Nick and Ryan, versus Matt Hardy and not his brother, Leon Slater, for the TNA World Tag Team Championships.
well, someone can't cross the border, so whatever.
Wow. Tessa Blanchard with Robert Stone is going up against Santino Marella's daughter, Ariana Grace, with Santino at ringside for, just for a singles match. Mike Santana versus AJ Francis with KC Navarro as well in the singles match. The Elegance girls, Ash by Elegance and Heather by Elegance, with the personal concierge who was at Maple Leaf Pro Wrestling Northern Rising as well, versus Spitfire, Danny Luna, and Jody Threat for the TNA Knockouts World Tag Championship. So it'll be nice to see Jody Threat again. I met her backstage at one of the indie shows as well, so that was a lot of fun. And Steve Macklin is going to put up the TNA International Championship against Matt Cardona. And yeah. So that's the 8 matches that we have for to look forward to at TNA Under Siege. And if you are looking to meet any of the wrestlers at TNA Under Siege, I mean, Matt Hardy's going to be there on the Friday and Saturday. You got the Nemeths as well on the Friday, Indy Hartwell on the Friday, as well as Tessa Blanchard on the Saturday, Mustafa Ali on the Saturday, as well as Mike Santana, Moose, and Cardona.
All on the Saturday Impact tapings, I guess.
Yes.
Nice. And of course, you didn't mention now, but you did mention earlier, we are going to meet on this Friday's TNA Under Siege post-show meet and greets, TNA World Champion, Joe Hendry. Huh. All right. He didn't appear, though, unfortunately.
Yes. Well, he will appear this coming Friday. You'll see that in our Instagram and our social media. That's for sure. Which one are you looking forward to most out of the matches that I've mentioned so far?
Oh, man, I didn't really know that Macklin was going to put up a title against Cardona. That instantly speaks to me as a good match. Could steal the show. Well, I mean, anytime that Knockouts division gets in the ring, it's always good. Like they got a good thing going there. For a while, they had the strongest division, and not to say that they're not still one of the strongest women's divisions in pro wrestling, but I mean, Masha's there. Tessa has a match against Ariana Grace. You know, that's actually one that I'm looking forward to as well. Because, lover or hater, Tessa Blanchard, I think one of the premier women's athletes in pro wrestling.
For sure. I mean, like not only does she have the Blanchard background as well, but she's also like, she's trained with she's trained in multiple styles of wrestling, including lucha. So
and remember, she used to be the TNA World Champion.
That is true. That is very, very true. So I'm looking forward to watching Tessa wrestle. I'm also looking forward to watching Heather by Elegance wrestle because I remember meeting her over at a Destiny Wrestling show back in Oshawa last year.
Oh, wow.
So before she got signed with TNA. So it was. It's always going to be nice to see people that you've met in the indies rise up the ranks and get to the next level. So Heather Reckless as she used to be known.
That's right.
Yep. Congratulations! I'm so happy for you.
Hey, and the other thing is too, we're talking about TNA Under Siege this Friday, and then the Impact tapings on Saturday night. We'd be remiss if we didn't mention that there's actually another show on Sunday night that involves TNA wrestling. I was a little surprised to hear about it, but it's all over Instagram advertising. It's called Border Brawl.
Yeah, it's gonna be in Niagara Falls.
Yeah, it's gonna be free to stream on Zonify. But yeah, it's TNA wrestlers. I think mainly TNA wrestlers. There's probably gonna be some indie people on the undercard. But the whole gimmick is they mention tariffs in the bylines of the advertisements.
Oh, wow.
They're like the tariffs are high, but America and Canada are going to settle it in the ring or whatever the pitch is that they use. Because they're going to be in Niagara on Sunday night, basically.
That's right. Yep.
And so it's going to be Canadians versus Americans. For example, Tessa Blanchard 1-on-1 against Jody Threat.
That's great.
Right.
Oh, I already love that match. I know that's gonna be a banger.
Eric Young versus Matt Hardy. That's going to be one of the matches as well. I'm not sure what match. I think Nick Nemeth might be there, but I don't know who he's fighting against. In the poster, they have him opposite Santino, so maybe that's going to be a match. Who knows?
That'd be cool too. I mean, hey, I would love to see Dolph Ziggler and Santino go at it again. So,
yeah, but it's an American going against somebody from Calabria, Italy, or something, right?
Yeah, something like that. Yeah. But and speaking of WWE matches, Saturday night's main event also happening this weekend on Saturday.
Oh my goodness!
And it's going to be headlined by R-Truth versus John Cena.
His childhood hero, John Cena.
Yeah, remember that John Cena, gave an attitude adjustment to Truth during the post-show presser.
Hey, man, if ever there was a time for a dusty finish, this would be it. What do I mean by that? I mean that they should make R-Truth believe that he's won the title against John Cena. And then he doesn't actually.
That would be hilarious.
Yeah. But I feel like they should make it like it's like Truth legitimately feels like he won. And then it's like, and it's just sad. And then Cena beats him up. Because you got to like put even more heat on John.
That's true. But you know what? There's so much wrestling, so little time, and we're actually out of time here on the air on the radio. Look out for our updates for TNA Under Siege. We're also going to be hopefully putting out some reviews of a couple of movies that we would like to watch, like Iron Claw and Queen of the Ring. We'll talk about lots more wrestling next week on the air. Chico at Coco Collects, myself, Lex Tan at Lex Tan Media, Ringside Heat at Ringside_Heat. And thank you to all of you for listening wherever you are getting your podcasts, as well as on Saga 960 AM and on YouTube. Ringside Heat, we remember the things that you probably forgot.